Shake your head in, drop with your best friend. Stop.
29-year-old mother of 6 killed over the weekend while celebrating her birthday. Someone's been shot. She's not breathing. Please hurry. The call is frantic, the voice trembling with panic. Sirens wail in the distance, racing toward the 1800 block of East 79th Street. By the time officers arrive, a woman lies motionless on the pavement. The party decorations still hang around her, a cruel contrast to the tragedy that has unfolded. Paramedics work frantically, attempting to revive her. A crowd gathers, murmurs of disbelief rippling through the air. Some hold their phones up, recording the scene, while others press their hands over their mouths in horror. A mother of 6, her life slipping away under the flashing red and blue lights.
Relatives say that victim was out celebrating her birthday, which was this past Thursday, when she was shot and killed on the south side. She leaves behind 6 children, the youngest less than a year old. For the family of Jamia Taylor, her death just doesn't seem real.
No, it still feels like a dream. All of it.
Just days earlier, Jamia Taylor had celebrated her 29th birthday. A hard-working woman, balancing 2 jobs to provide for her children. Now, instead of looking forward to another year of life, her family faces an unimaginable loss. How did a celebration turn deadly? What led to this horrifying moment in the early hours of morning? Here at Crime Scene Exposed, we bring you the most infamous crimes, shocking confessions, and twisted criminal minds from around the world. From high-profile murder trials to cold cases that still haunt investigators, we uncover the truth behind the crimes that shook the world. If you're fascinated by real-life mysteries and want in-depth storytelling, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a case. Jamia Taylor lived in Chicago's South Shore neighborhood, a place where families carved out lives amidst the city's challenges. At just 29 years old, she had already built a world centered around love, responsibility, and resilience. She was a mother of 6, her children ranging in age from 11 months to 12 years, and she devoted herself entirely to giving them the best life she could. A mother first. Raising 6 children while working multiple jobs was never easy, but Jamia didn't back down from the struggle. She was both the protector and provider, ensuring her children had a home filled with warmth and stability. She worked as a security guard and retail employee, long hours that demanded both physical and mental endurance. Despite her exhausting schedule, she still found time to help with homework, attend school events, and make sure her kids knew they were loved. Her mother, Tomanita Whitehorn, described her as a woman with a heart big enough for everyone around her. She looked out for everybody, she said. She loved her kids more than anything in this world. And it showed. Jamia would often post about them, celebrating their milestones and sharing glimpses of their lives with her close friends. She wasn't just raising her children, she was shaping their future, ensuring they had opportunities beyond what she had experienced. Balancing reality and social media. Like many young women of her generation, Jamia had a strong online presence. Under the name Maya Dabadi, she curated a digital persona that showcased a confident and stylish woman. Her social media pages featured a mix of fashionable selfies, inspirational quotes, and updates about her life. But there was a clear contrast between what people saw online and the reality she lived every day. Her social media presence reflected her aspirations and confidence, but behind the scenes, she was a mother carrying immense responsibility. The hours spent working, the sleepless nights, the stress of balancing finances, it was all part of a life that wasn't as glamorous as it might have appeared online. Jamia wasn't alone in this struggle. Like many working mothers, she walked a fine line between self-expression and self-sacrifice, between maintaining an identity beyond motherhood and doing everything necessary to secure her children's future. a birthday meant for celebration. February 2025 was supposed to mark another milestone in her life, her 29th birthday. It was a chance to pause and celebrate the years she had fought through, a rare moment where she could put aside the weight of responsibility and simply enjoy herself. Her family remembers how excited she was leading up to it. She wanted to make it a night to remember, a night for herself. But just days after turning 29, everything changed. A family shattered by loss. When news of her passing broke, grief hit like a wave. Her mother, her siblings, and most of all, her children, their world would never be the same. A mother's love is irreplaceable, and suddenly they were left to grow up without the one person who had been their constant source of love and security. Her mother's words were filled with pain and disbelief. Why would they do this to my baby? For a family that had already endured struggles, this loss was beyond devastating.
Mother.
Pretty smart, intelligent. She looked out for everybody. Whenever anybody needed something, she helped them out. So why would they do this to my baby? I just don't understand.
A woman who had fought through so much, who had worked tirelessly to create a better life, was gone in an instant. Remembering Jamia Taylor, her story raises a difficult question. Why? Why would someone take the life of a mother who had spent her own life protecting others? Why does violence continue to claim lives in communities where people are simply trying to survive? Jamia Taylor was more than just a victim. She was a mother, a daughter, a fighter, and a woman with dreams. She had hopes for the future, for herself and her children, and those dreams were stolen in a moment of senseless violence. Her name deserves to be remembered. The fatal night, how Jamia Taylor was murdered. It was supposed to be a night of celebration, a chance for Jamia Taylor to enjoy herself after another year of hard work and sacrifice. But February 9th, 2025, would end in tragedy, leaving her family desperate for answers. A birthday celebration turns deadly. The streets of East 79th Street in Chicago's South Shore neighborhood were alive with music and laughter as the night stretched into the early morning hours. Friends and acquaintances gathered, sharing drinks, conversation, and a rare moment of escape from life's daily struggles. Jamia had been looking forward to this. She was just days past her 29th birthday, and for once, she allowed herself to let go and enjoy the moment. But then, at some point between the laughter and the music, something went terribly wrong. A sudden burst of gunfire tore through the air. Chaos erupted. People screamed. Some ran for cover, others froze in shock, and when the gunshots stopped, Jamia Taylor lay on the ground, motionless. The 911 call and emergency response. At 5:23 a.m., Chicago police received a disturbing 911 call. Shots fired. A woman's down, she's not moving. Within minutes, officers and paramedics arrived, their flashing lights cutting through the darkness. The once lively gathering had turned into a scene of panic and confusion. Jamia was found unresponsive, a gunshot wound to the chest. Her body lay on the pavement, surrounded by the remnants of a night that was supposed to be filled with joy. The party had turned into a crime scene. Paramedics rushed her to the University of Chicago Medical Center, fighting against time to save her life. But by the time they arrived, it was too late. Jamia Taylor was pronounced dead, a crime without clear answers. The initial police investigation provided few immediate answers. No one at the scene could, or would, offer a clear account of what happened. Witnesses described the chaos and confusion, but when it came to who pulled the trigger, no one seemed to know. Was she the target, or just in the wrong place? One of the most disturbing questions about Jamia's murder remains. Who fired the shot and why? Investigators considered several possibilities. A targeted attack. Was Jamia specifically targeted by someone who wanted her dead? If so, who would want to kill her and why? A stray bullet. Chicago has long struggled with gun violence, and innocent bystanders have often been caught in the crossfire of senseless shootings. Could this have been a case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time? A dispute gone wrong? Was there a fight at the party that escalated? Could someone have pulled a gun in anger, with Jamia being the unintended victim? With no suspect in custody, Jamia's family was left searching for answers and justice. A family's anguish and frustration. For Jamia's mother, Tomanita Whitehorn, the lack of answers was unbearable. She didn't deserve this. My baby was just trying to enjoy her birthday. How does this happen? Why won't anyone say what they saw? Her pain was shared by her children, who now had to grow up without their mother. The reality of her absence weighed heavily. Who would take care of them? Who would tuck them in at night? For Jamia's siblings and close friends, frustration turned to anger. Somebody knows what happened. Somebody was there, and they're staying quiet.
It's devastating what my grandbabies gonna do. They don't understand what's really going on, and it's gonna be hard that their mom is not here.
Police are investigating Taylor's death as a homicide and say no one is in custody at this time.
Despite the immediate police response, the case stalled almost as quickly as it began. No arrests were made. No suspects were named. The Chicago Police Department's Area 4 detectives classified the case as a homicide, but as of February 2025, there was no official motive, no person of interest, and no leads publicly disclosed. Even the lack of police updates left the family disillusioned. They wanted transparency, action, justice, but instead, they felt like Jamia's case was being forgotten. A pattern all too familiar. Jamia Taylor's murder wasn't an isolated tragedy. It was part of a larger, heartbreaking pattern of violence in Chicago. Statistics showed that too many homicides in the city remained unsolved, with grieving families left to seek justice on their own. Many feared that her case would be added to that growing list, another life lost without accountability. The unanswered questions that haunt the case. Months after the fatal night, Jamia's murder remained a mystery. Who pulled the trigger? Did Jamia know her killer? Was it intentional or a tragic accident? Why has no one come forward? These questions hang heavy over her family and community. Justice for Jamia, a community plea. For Jamia's family, justice isn't just about finding the person responsible. It's about ensuring this doesn't happen to someone else. They've called on anyone with information to come forward. They've pleaded with law enforcement to do more. But as time passes, they fear her case is growing colder. Final thoughts. Jamia Taylor was a mother, a daughter, a sister, and a friend, not just another statistic. Her life was stolen in an instant, and the person responsible is still out there. Her story is a reminder of the violence that continues to claim lives, and the families left shattered in its wake. The question remains, will her family ever get the justice they deserve? Jamia Taylor's death wasn't just a personal tragedy, it was a reflection of a much larger crisis. Her murder underscores the rising epidemic of gun violence, the systemic failures that allow cases like hers to remain unsolved, and the urgent need for change. This wasn't just about one woman, one bullet, one night. It was about a society struggling to protect its most vulnerable. Gun violence and its disproportionate impact on women of color. Gun violence in the United States has reached staggering levels, but certain groups bear the brunt of this crisis more than others. Studies show that Black women and other women of color are at disproportionate risk of being killed by firearms, yet their deaths often receive less media attention and fewer investigative resources than other homicide cases. Jamia was a 29-year-old Black mother of 6. Her murder should have been a call to action. Instead, it became another heartbreaking statistic buried under an endless cycle of violence. The intersection of gender and race plays a role in how these cases unfold. Black women are 3 times more likely than white women to be murdered by a firearm. The vast majority of those killings involve someone the victim knew. Many cases involving women of color go unsolved or unprosecuted, reinforcing a sense of systemic neglect. When women like Jamia lose their lives, the impact rips through families and communities, leaving children without mothers, parents without daughters, and friends without the people they love. The lack of transparency in unsolved cases. Jamia's family isn't just grieving her loss, they're also fighting for answers in a system that often fails families like theirs. Unsolved homicides are alarmingly common, especially in cities struggling with high crime rates and limited police resources. In Chicago, only about 50% of homicides are ever solved. Cases involving Black victims have even lower clearance rates, meaning a staggering number of families never receive justice. Many investigations stall due to lack of witnesses willing to testify, fear of retaliation, or simply police inaction. Jamia's mother, Tomanita Whitehorn, has been pleading for justice, but without pressure on authorities to prioritize the case, the likelihood of it growing cold increases by the day. For families of homicide victims, the lack of transparency creates deep frustration. Why hasn't an arrest been made? Are investigators still working on the case? What evidence do they have, and what's missing? Without clear updates, families are left to fight for justice on their own, often feeling abandoned by the system. The role of community in violence prevention. While law enforcement plays a role in solving homicides, true crime prevention starts before the bullets fly. Communities have long been on the front lines of violence intervention, creating programs that offer alternatives to crime, de-escalation strategies, and support for those most at risk. Some proven strategies include violence interrupters. Groups like Chicago's Cure Violence deploy trained individuals, often former gang members, to de-escalate conflicts before they turn deadly. Trauma recovery and counseling. After shootings, many survivors and witnesses struggle with grief and PTSD. Expanding community-based trauma services could prevent retaliation killings and cycles of violence. Job and youth development programs. Many violent crimes stem from poverty, unemployment, and lack of opportunity. Programs that provide mentorship, job training, and education can reduce violent crime rates. The reality is, gun violence isn't inevitable. Cities that have invested in community-driven safety measures have seen homicide rates drop, proving that change is possible. Advocating for stricter gun control measures. Gun violence is a policy problem as much as it is a criminal one. The ease with which firearms fall into the wrong hands has turned personal disputes, domestic arguments, and even celebrations into deadly encounters. Many experts argue that stronger gun laws could prevent tragedies like Jamia's murder. Universal background checks. Ensuring that every gun sale, private or commercial, requires a background check could prevent weapons from reaching people with violent pasts. Stricter licensing requirements. Just as driving a car requires training and testing, some advocates believe gun ownership should have similar requirements. Red flag laws. These laws allow family members or law enforcement to temporarily remove firearms from individuals who pose a danger to themselves or others. Gun control remains a divisive topic in America. But for families like Jamia's, it's not about politics, it's about saving lives. The lessons we can take from this case. Jamia's story is one of tragedy, injustice, and unanswered questions, but it's also a call to action. What can we take away from this? 1. Gun violence is preventable. Stronger laws, better enforcement, and community-led efforts can reduce the number of lives lost to firearms. 2. Women of color deserve justice. Too many cases involving black women and other marginalized victims go unsolved. Families shouldn't have to fight alone for the answers they deserve. 3. We need better transparency in unsolved cases. Law enforcement must be held accountable for ensuring families receive regular updates and justice is pursued with the same urgency for all victims, regardless of race or background. For prevention starts in the community. Programs aimed at de-escalating violence, providing mental health support, and creating economic opportunities can save lives before violence even begins. Jamia Taylor should be alive today. She should be raising her children, chasing her dreams, and celebrating many more birthdays. Her death wasn't just another shooting in Chicago, it was a preventable loss, and her case should serve as a wake-up call to demand action. What lessons do you take away from this case? Do you believe there should be more accountability for unsolved homicides? How can we better protect women from gun violence? Let's discuss in the comments. And if you want to stay informed on more cases like this, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications here at Crime Scene Exposed. We cover the most infamous crimes, baffling disappearances, disturbing confessions, and twisted criminal minds from around the world. From high-profile murder trials to cold cases that still haunt investigators, we bring you detailed investigations, gripping storytelling, and in-depth analysis. Don't miss out. Subscribe now and join the discussion.